Good evening, everyone. My name is Elizabeth, the Education Coordinator for Marlene's Market and Deli. Tonight's special guest that we have with us is Dan Chapman, and he is the CEO and founder of Redd Remedies. And he's speaking on a very important topic of know your stress type and how to balance. Thank you so much, Dan, for joining us this evening.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here with you. I will go ahead and share my screen and we'll get this show started. How's that? All right, perfect. All right, well, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about stress types tonight. So that's always a great topic, I suppose, to talk about stress. But let me spend just a couple of quick minutes and tell you all just a little bit about myself. Um, My parents opened a health food store in the Chicago area in 1961. And so I've literally grown up in and around health food retail. And there's a one statement that was true about my mom and true about just literally thousands of people that I've helped since, not just at Sunrise Health Foods, but certainly at Redd Remedies. And it's just this general statement that was true about my mom, and that's that everybody wants to feel good, but the fact is that most of us just don't. And it's a simple statement, but it's true. Most of us just don't feel as good as we want to, and it's difficult. And there's a problem that I see that kind of runs through this as a thread or a theme. And we're going to talk about a lot of this tonight, but that problem is a combination of stress, toxins in our environment, in our body, in the foods that we eat, in the clothes we wear, the body care products, the cleaning products, and all of those things, as well as a lack of nutrients in food. And so every health issue that I see has a combination of these things that kind of amplify the problem. And it's part of the reason the conversation about stress is so important. It is because stress is an amplifier of the health issues that we might have. And we want to quiet that amplification, right? We want to start to feel better quickly. And I find that addressing stress is one of the fastest ways to help somebody start to feel better. Um, I've got a couple of other quick pictures here from early days at Sunrise Health Foods. And I show these pictures because it was really out of this experience that I started Redd Remedies 19 years ago now, with the whole idea that we are going to create expertly crafted natural supplements so that you can feel better. Again, just that simple. We know that most people don't feel good and they want to feel better. And our role here is to design some formulas to help you get exactly where you want to be on your health journey. And so there's a couple of things that are important, I think, to understand, and this will help kind of set the frame of how we're going to help you deal with the different stressors that we have in our lives. So we talked about the problems being stress, toxins, lack of nutrients in our food, but there's also a couple of rules and understandings that we need to have about the body that are true. And that is the brain and the body is connected. This is very important with stress. Stress is not just our emotions, it affects the entire body, the brain and the body together. The organs in our systems are connected. In other words, a problem in one area of the body will have a ripple effect throughout the rest of the body. Our body is whole, it's connected, and so we need to make sure that we're dealing with our bodies as a whole, not just a very specific issue. And I also think it's important to understand that we have the capacity to heal. And I know that a lot of us believe that, but often when I meet somebody who maybe has struggled with a health issue for a longer period of time, we start to believe that maybe we'll never get better. And I think it's just important to understand that we can, in fact, heal. Our bodies can get better. We have that capacity. And so there's hope in that. And I hope that by the end of this presentation tonight, you'll see some of the things that you can do to start to improve your health. And the way that we do it at Redd Remedies, our formulas that we're going to talk about tonight are designed to nourish the body, specific to the target that we're going to address. They're going to support all the systems involved in that issue, because again, the rules say the body is whole and connected, and we're going to abide by those rules. And our goal ultimately is to restore balance. When the body is in balance or homeostasis, especially related to stress, we start to feel better quickly. So that's some of the framework that I think is great to know. So let's dive into our topic about stress. A couple of things that we should maybe just talk about first is just where are we at as a nation, as a country. And there's actually a survey that is done every year. It's called the Stress in America Survey. They've been doing this survey every year since 2007. And one of the things that is unique about the survey this year is this is the first time that generally we all are coming to the understanding that the stress in our lives is actually connected with disease. Stress is not just, again, oh man, I had a really stressful day or a week and I got a lot going on and I may be a little tired because of it. But stress in our lives, that chronic stress, is connected with inflammation, with my immune system, with digestive issues, with my heart, and whether I'll have a healthy cardiovascular system. Stress is connected to weight, is connected to strokes, all kinds of very serious health issues. And so it's interesting that this is the first year that the general population has made that connection. There's a couple of other points in this survey that I will point out. We find that generally speaking, older adults are stating that they are generally in good health. 81% of older adults say, I'm generally in pretty good health. And in the same sentence, that same adult will tell you, while I'm generally in good health, 66% will tell you they have a chronic health issue. And so it's interesting that what I find is that older adult is looking around and saying, yes, I'm stressed. I've got a lot going on, but a lot of the people around me are worse than I am. So I'm not going to worry about myself. I'm going to take care of others. And so I think it's important to just understand that we all have stress and we need to not just take care of others, we also need to take care of ourselves. This survey also tells us, and a couple of other points, and then I'll move on from here. When we look at that younger category, so adults with young children, we have about 42% of adults in that category that say that the stress is at the point where they can't function. 42% of young parents say that their stress is at the level where it's so much they just don't know what to do. And this is one of the reasons that we want to talk about stress. We want to talk about the different stress types that there are, and not just be aware that, yeah, there may be a problem here, but there is really wonderful solutions that we can all use, each one of us, to help quiet that stress response so it's not so overwhelming to us. So it doesn't cause the diseases and things that it might for the general population. So there are absolutely things that we can do to protect ourselves against these negative impacts from stress. So first of all, what is stress? So let's go into what it is. Stress is defined as the body's reaction to a change that requires a physical, mental, or emotional adjustment or response. Now, that's a lot of words. Most of us don't think about stress in a long definition like this, but essentially all this is saying is that a stressor is anything that pushes your body out of balance. And so what I want us to understand is our bodies were designed to handle stress. We do it really, really well. Our bodies handle stress all day, every day for a lifetime. My point in this slide is to help us understand that stress isn't free. So while our bodies are good at dealing with it, there is a cost to that stress. When our body comes out of balance because of a stressor, your body needs to spend some energy to bring that stressor back into balance. And there's actually a term for that cost of stress. It's known as the allostatic load. And this is defined as the price that your brain and your body are going to pay for being forced to respond to these constant stressors. So again, we're good at it, but there's a cost. And it's really important to deal with these stressors in our lives while they're small before they build. Because if we ignore stress, if we ignore that weight on our bodies because of stress, that's when it starts to develop into potential chronic health issues. And if we look at this slide here, I won't go through all of the different things that stress can do in the body, but essentially what you can learn from this slide literally is that stress impacts everything. You know, I said a few moments ago that stress is an amplifier. And so if you have joint pain under stress, the joint pain will hurt more. Most people don't realize that pain is actually an emotional response. It's absolutely connected to stress. So if you have a thyroid issue under stress, that thyroid issue will be amplified. It will be worse. If you have allergies, those allergies will be worse. We could go right down the list of every issue that you might have, and under stress, that issue is amplified. And so, again, my main purpose here tonight is to help us figure out, okay, here's the type that I am. What can I do to quiet the amplification so I can start to feel better very, very quickly? Because when we bring that stress response down, our body does have the capacity to heal. And so the beautiful thing about the natural food industry and going to health food stores like Marlene's is that there are herbs in the aisles of these stores that are known as adaptogens that I call our herbal answers to chronic stress. And these herbs are really remarkable at protecting us from the negative impact of stress. And so, just for clarity, an adaptogen is not the name of a specific herb, it's a category of herbs, a very small elite category. And in order to be classified as an adaptogen, and an herb, first of all, it must be non toxic. So that means adaptogen herbs have a very high safety profile. Anybody can use an adaptogen, they're perfectly safe. Number two, an adaptogen must produce a non-specific response in the body. All that means is that that herb has a unique ability to work anywhere in your body that something is wrong. And that's pretty powerful. Most herbs do a lot of great things, but they have a relatively narrow impact in the body. Adaptogens have the ability to work anywhere in the body that you might need support. And then the last quality of an adaptogen is to have a normalizing influence, and that simply means it doesn't matter if your issue is an overactive or an underactive problem, an adaptogen will always bring that problem back to center or balance. And so when you put these three qualities together in a single herb, you start to understand why adaptogens are so powerful and so special. And so tonight I'm going to talk about 4 different adaptogens um, as we go through this. And there are more than this, but these are the ones I'm going to cover tonight. I'll talk about Asian ginseng, also known as Panax ginseng. I'll talk about rhodiola, and I use a couple of different types of rhodiola. One is rosea, the other is crenulata. We'll also talk about schizandra and holy basil. All right, so back to the stress types. One of the things that I've seen as I've talked about stress, and this has been a topic of mine for nearly 20 years, is that while all of us have stress and all of us go through stress experiences, because of the uniqueness and the way that we are each created, is we can all go through the same stress experience and come out of the other side with very different feelings or symptoms from that stress experience. And I find that people tend to fall in one of 3 general stress categories, and that being fatigue, kind of anxiousness, or depressive stress. Now, I fully recognize that somebody could go through all 3 of these in a day, maybe even all 3 of these in 5 minutes or so. So that's very possible. And yes, I realize they all go together. But if we take a couple of moments and just think about how we tend to respond to stress, what you'll find is that most of us are going to fall really nicely into one of these categories, even though, yes, we might experience all 3 of them. So if you're the type of person where stress generally just makes you kind of fatigued and tired, and it's like, I can never quite get enough sleep, I never quite have the energy I want during the day, fatigue is your type. If stress for you always seems to be just a little bit more emotional, maybe worry, maybe fear, you might be the person that kind of carries the weight of the world on your shoulders because you're always loving and caring for other people. So if that's you, then it's that anxious stress type. And then the last category is that individual whose stress just really weighs them down. So depressive, melancholy, this individual might lack the motivation just to even want to get out and try again today. They need that lift, right? And so think about which category is a foundational category for you. And I realize it might take a few minutes as you just quietly thinking that through in your mind, but most of us are going to fall nicely into one of these categories. And so Well, let's start going through each one of the three and we'll come up with the right solution for each of us. When we look at this category of stress and fatigue, one of the things that we certainly need to understand is that the higher our level of stress is, the lower our level of energy will be. And that's just that pure simple. High stress equals low energy. And so for this stress type, we use True Energy. It's a wonderful stimulant-free formula because I also realized for this person, they're probably reaching for caffeine and stimulants throughout the day. That might be the way they get through, but stimulation is not energy. It's maybe hiding the fatigue, but it is not energy. So True Energy is a stimulant-free formula that is designed to help the body produce energy the way it was designed and created to do that. And so where do we start with True Energy? We start with adaptogens, the category of herbs that I just went over, because if high stress equals low energy, the first thing that we need to do is modulate that stress response or protect you from that stress response. And so while all adaptogens are really amazing at helping our bodies deal with stress, each adaptogen has something that it's particularly good at. That's why we use a lot of different adaptogens at Redd Remedies. And so if I'm looking to help somebody that has fatigue physically and mentally, the adaptogens that I would go to is that Asian or Panax ginseng and rhodiola. These are the adaptogens that we would use for energy, strength, stamina, focus, and clarity. So this is the foundation of True Energy. And let me take a minute and just on a slide show you all of the things that rhodiola and Panax or Asian ginseng do. And these are things that you would find research studies that says rhodiola and Panax ginseng do these specific things. And there's a lot. So I'm just going to go through the list. So these adaptogens increase physical endurance. They help increase work productivity. They shorten recovery time between sessions of high intense exercise. They improve cardiovascular measures and essentially all cardiovascular measures. They improve coordination. They help your cells actually produce energy more efficiently with ATP energy. They increase longevity. They help with resistance to high altitude sickness. They treat fatigue, anemia. They treat impotence, gastrointestinal ailments. And this is something that you will see as I go through every adaptogen tonight, is that every single adaptogen is going to have a positive impact on digestion because stress directly impacts digestion. So if you have a digestive issue, you may not even realize that stress is the cause and or stress is certainly the amplifier of that problem. So adaptogens are wonderful herbs to use for anybody that have digestive stresses. So these adaptogens treat infection, um, nervous system disorders. They protect against environmental stressors, heat shock, free radicals, heavy metal exposure. They treat cold, flu, tuberculosis, cancers, improve mental and physical performance. They regulate emotions, increase attention span and memory. They improve thyroid, thymus, adrenal, and cardiovascular functions. They're known to be cancer preventative. They improve the immune system. They help with oxygen uptake and transport throughout the body. And they improve energy metabolism during prolonged exercise by enhancing the use of fat for energy. Now, let me explain that one because that's a mouthful right there. One of the things that happens in our body under stress is our body says, uh, you know what, if you need energy, you need to go eat more food. That's part of the reason that when people are stressed, they tend to want to eat. And the reason our body does that is it wants to protect yourself and make sure that it preserves energy that your body thinks maybe you're going to need tomorrow or next week. And so your body shuts down access to the energy that's stored in your fat cells. And again, you get the signal to eat food. So what these adaptogens will do by modulating that stress response is they will tell your body, okay, I realize you're stressed, but like your life is not in danger here. It's okay to use the energy stored in your fat cells. And so it literally opens them up. And then what happens is you don't have the desire to eat because you have plenty of energy available to you. These herbs are actually really quite remarkable. So, and there's a lot more that we could talk about with rhodiola and ginseng. I think that's a great list. So I'll stop there on that tonight. We'll go on to the rest of this formula. Um, So the rest of our True Energy formula is designed very specifically to nourish your adrenals, your thyroid, and your liver. Because the other thing that we know about the body, and again, remember the rules from a little bit ago, right? The organs and the systems are connected. And so the thing that we know about energy in the body is that if your adrenals, your thyroid, or your liver, any one of these are not functioning well, you will absolutely be tired. You will be experiencing fatigue. Now, there might be a list of a couple of hundred other health issues you're also struggling with, but fatigue will be one of them. And so, if we're going to help you have positive energy levels, we need to make sure that the adrenals, the thyroid, and the liver are getting the nourishment or the food, if you will, that they need to function well. And so, that's what True Energy is providing are the wonderful adaptogens for stress and then nourishing herbs for the adrenals, the thyroid, and the liver. This is a really easy formula to use. It's 2 capsules a day is the full dose. You can use it anytime that you like during the day because, as I said, it's not a stimulant. Now, my favorite way to use True Energy is first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. Actually, my routine is I put this on my nightstand at night when I go to bed, along with a glass of water. When I wake up in the morning, the first thing that I do when I sit up in bed is I take 2 capsules of True Energy, I drink my glass of water, and I'm done with this formula for the day. And I've had some people that say, well, okay, if you take it in the morning, like what about 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the afternoon? That's when I get tired, Dan. And I say, well, True Energy doesn't wear off. A stimulant might wear off, but what you're doing is nourishing your body and protecting it from stress, that energy is high level and stable throughout the day, physically and mentally. It doesn't wear off. So it's a very different type of energy. So True Energy is a wonderful product. It's actually, this is my stress type, just for everybody to know. This is my favorite product in our entire line. It's my daily product and one that just really makes me feel good. So the second stress type, as we talked about, is for individuals, again, who stress really makes them feel maybe a bit anxious, worry, fear. And again, this might be the personality where you might say, I don't know about worry or fear or even anxiousness so much, but you do feel kind of that weight of the world because you're a caregiver. So I do also put your caregivers in this category. And so what we want to do for this individual is we want to provide a sense of calm and clarity and focused thoughts. So the focus of at ease is to bring balance to the brain and then support the body. And we want to do that because especially if we're feeling anxious, if we can quiet the anxiousness in our brain, the body will follow that. If all I do is give you a sedative, you might have a relaxed body, but you will still have an anxious brain. So the focus of this is to work on the brain. And so that's what we're really doing here. And so we start this by giving B vitamins. We know that people that are feeling stress, especially again, that anxious stress, are deficient in specific B vitamins. And rather than going through each B vitamin to tell you what it does, I find it's really helpful just to understand what B vitamins as a whole do. So, B vitamins are catalysts. A catalyst is something that starts a chain of reactions. And so we need B vitamins to start the process of neurotransmitter production. And so another way to kind of give you a visual on that is if we want to make a campfire, and we talked about camping just before we went live tonight, but if I want to have a campfire, I need something to start that fire. And that something would be a match, right? So when you light a match, it gives itself up for the production of a fire. And what's interesting is you can't use that match a second time, right? Because it gave a part of itself up. And that's what B vitamins do in the body is they give a part of themselves up for the production of neurotransmitters and all kinds of other different really important reactions. And that's why we need a regular supply of B vitamins because once they're used. They can't be used again. So we need regular supply of B vitamins in our diet or from our supplements. And we find that this stress type is in need of even more because of the stress that they experience. So then we also use magnesium and choline. And I kind of look at magnesium and choline for this individual as fuel. And so if you look at that anxious brain or body, It's going a little too fast, right? That brain is racing and spinning a little bit. And it's just like if we were speeding down the highway, that car would use more fuel than if we were going the speed limit. So these are fuels for the brain and the body. And we need to provide enough to refill those stores that our brain and our body need. And then we use GABA, which is one of the main calming neurotransmitters. GABA is actually one of the reasons that Addis works so quickly and nicely for somebody that's feeling a bit anxious. 5-HTP is another wonderful amino acid. It's actually the direct precursor to serotonin. Serotonin is one of these neurotransmitters that we know that we're deficient in if we're feeling anxious. And then the last amino acid in the foundation of Addis is L-theanine. L-theanine is an amino acid that generally comes from green tea, and it has some incredible properties of helping us to relax. And at the same time that L-theanine is helping us to relax, it's increasing alertness. And that might actually sound like it's counterintuitive, like how can I relax and be more alert? But if you think about the anxious person, that person that's struggling to focus, if we can quiet their brain, they actually will be much more alert, much more ability to think and make decisions and function during the day. And so the beautiful thing about L-theanine is it is not a sedative. It won't put you to sleep. It just causes the body to naturally come to an appropriate state of calm. So great amino acid. And then we finish this formula up with 2 herbs, starting with Bacopa. Bacopa is not an adaptogen. It wasn't on my list there, but it's an incredible herb and a wonderful tonic for the brain. It helps with focus and concentration and memory. But one of the other things that I really love about Bacopa, and the reason it's important for this formula and for this individual, is because in addition to helping my brain, it also kind of calms emotional stressors in the body. And so somebody might be saying, oh, my blood pressure's up, my heart's racing, I can't breathe because my muscles are tight and tense. The Copa helps to just quiet that emotional stress. Oh, so I can breathe, right? It just helps us wash that away. Again, it's not an herb that is a sedative, meaning it won't put you to sleep. It just appropriately relaxes you. We don't want to put you to sleep during the day, and Addis won't do that. It'll just relax you so you can go about your day the way that you want to and need to. And then the last herb in this formula is Schizandra. This is one that's on our adaptogen list. And if I look at the expertise of Schizandra, it is excellent for emotional stressors. So rhodiola and Asian ginseng were best for more physical stressors. Schizandra is better for more emotional stressors. So let me do the same thing, listing out all of the things that Schizandra does based on the many studies that there are out there. So Schizandra is an anti-stress herb. It's great for the adrenals, for anxiety, for insomnia. It's a cancer fighter. It nourishes the skin and protects the skin. It improves mental health, focus, concentration, memory, mental energy, neuroprotective. It actually protects the brain. It's antimicrobial, antiviral. It increases life expectancy and improves quality of life. It's anti-aging. It's a treatment for different issues with gastrointestinal tract and improves digestion. So again, there's that digestive component related to stress. It's great for respiratory issues, cardiovascular issues of all kinds. It helps reduce body fatigue and weakness and excess sweating. That reduces hunger, delays aging, increases vitality. It's an anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, helps with detoxification. It protects against blood sugar issues and obesity and non-alcoholic fatty liver. And again, we can keep going. So the list for these adaptogens are really quite remarkable. So how do we use Addis? Addis is a product where we can take 1 to 2 tablets twice daily. So we have a little bit more flexibility in here. So anywhere between 1 and 4 a day. And what I would say is if this is your stress type and you're using it for the first time and you know, like I've got some of these stressors, I'm feeling some of these things, I want to do better, start with the high dose first. Take 2 tablets in the morning, take 2 more in the afternoon or the evening, and do that for a while. You might do it for maybe it's only a couple of weeks if your issues are not real significant. It could be a few months. It could be a year. Each one of us are a little bit different. My point in all of that is start at the higher dose, and stay on that dose as long as you need to until you are really consistently feeling better. And when you're feeling better, by all means, then start to reduce that dose little by little and see what that right maintenance dose is for you. So you'll go to 3 a day and then 2 a day, and who knows, maybe even 1 a day at some point. Now, if this is your stress type, my encouragement is you never go to zero because we will always have stress. And it's interesting that adaptogen herbs, these herbs that I'm talking about, the cultures that have used them historically for thousands of years use these herbs daily throughout life. Because again, as I said, we have a different stressor today than we will next month and next year. And so these adaptogens, these formulas are designed to be used for a longer period of time to help us deal with and protect us from the negative impact of stress. So at ease is a wonderful one, and you can increase and decrease the amount that you take just based on the season that you might feel that you're in. Because I find, especially for that person that feels that emotional, that anxious stress, it can go up in seasons and down in seasons. And so it's nice to have the flexibility from this product. All right, let's cover that last stress type. And that is the stress type, again, where I go through and I feel melancholy. I feel low. Again, I may not have the motivation or even just the desire to try again today. I just am down, right? And so Enjoy is that formula that we want to use for you. And Enjoy is going to help lift the mood. It's going to create some resilience, some emotional strength. That's what we're after with Enjoy. We just want to give you a lift, okay? And what's interesting here is we're also focused on the brain. Similar to At Ease, we want balance in the brain. And the reason we have a completely different formula for a depressive stress type than an anxious stress type is while we might want both of these individuals to come to the same finish line, they're coming at it from two very different places. That anxious person is brain racing and spinning, and I need to bring you down to balance. For this type, I need to bring you up to that place of balance. And that's what Enjoy is designed to do. So we're going to give some B vitamins again. Now, we use different B vitamins than we do in IVs because, again, we see different deficiencies in that anxious brain than we do that depressive brain. But the purpose of the B12 and the folate that's in here is it's the match for our campfire, right? It's that catalyst. It gets that chain of reaction started. So that's the purpose of the B vitamins. And then some vitamin D. We know that's our foundational vitamin, especially for a happy brain. We know that if we have stress, depressive stress, especially, that we're a bit low in vitamin D. So we need that foundation. And then 2 amino acids. We use tyrosine and 5-HTP. These are your direct precursors to serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine. And what's important here is oftentimes we think about that person that has that depressive stress as maybe being a bit low in serotonin. And hey, the whole goal is let's increase serotonin. But the brain is not that simple. It's not as simple as serotonin's a bit low. Let me elevate that, and all of a sudden I've got a healthy, happy brain and I'm good again. What we want is a balance of all neurotransmitters. And that's what we're doing in Enjoy, is giving the building blocks so we can help your body, your brain, produce the neurotransmitters that you uniquely need in the amount that you need. And so this is the foundation of Enjoy. And then we finish up this formula with 2 herbs. Both of them are adaptogens. Here we're using Schizandra again, the same adaptogen we use in our At Ease formula. It's our adaptogen for emotional stressors. And then we add to that holy basil. Holy basil, also an adaptogen, and its expertise is lifting the spirit. I kind of say that holy basil is like that best friend that comes over when you're feeling low and just perks you up, makes you feel better. So let's go through all of the things that, according to research, holy basil will do for us. I also heard somebody say a couple of months ago that holy basil is like herbal yoga. So I threw that on here. I thought that was a great description for holy basil. I don't know who to give credit to that for. So if you're listening and you're the one that told me, you're going to have to email me or text me or something so I know who you were. But holy basil, if we look at studies here, it's for depression, anxiety. It improves memory and cognition, protects against psychological stressors. So again, kind of think about that melancholy, that depressive stress. It's perfect for that individual. It balances cortisol levels, reduces stress and fatigue. It balances hormones. And here we're not just talking about stress hormones, but that's tied into all hormones in the body. It improves restful sleep and heart health again, blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, diabetes. It strengthens the immune system. It's an anti-inflammatory, great for asthma, cold, flu, fever, antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, digestion, diarrhea. So again, there's that connection between stress and digestive issues. Um, Skin health again. And that's interesting that an adaptogen, all of these have an impact on skin. And that's because they help your body deal with toxins. And we know that if the body is toxic, that part of where we'll see those toxins is through the skin, because the skin is our biggest organ and it's part of the way that our body gets rid of those toxins. So if the internal organs can't keep up, we will see it on the skin. So, all right, so skin health. And then the last one I've got here for holy basil is protects the liver, the kidneys, the brain against toxic effects of industrial chemicals, heavy metals, and even certain drugs. And just like the other adaptogens, I could go on and on and on, but these are some of the highlights. So, how do we use Enjoy? Enjoy is an easy product to use. Also, just like the others, it's one capsule twice daily, so that's two a day. And the reason I write this one as one capsule twice daily is I do prefer, if you're going to do it, I prefer it if you would take one in the morning and one more in the afternoon or the evening. I like these split up a little bit. Now, if you're the type of person who's like, Dan, I'm only taking vitamins once a day, that's it. You're not getting me to do it a second time. Take them both at the same time. That's fine. I'd rather you get two in than skip that second dose. But if you can get yourself to do it, this is one where I think you'll do just a little better by allowing these nutrients to be in the body for a longer period of time by splitting that up a little bit. So there's one last thing that is really important, I think, to address with all of these stress types. And so if you'll allow me to finish just by talking for a minute about sleep, we know that stress is absolutely going to impact sleep for probably all of us. So no matter what your stress type is, there's a real strong likelihood that if I asked you how you're sleeping, your answer is going to be, I don't, or I haven't well in a really, really long time, or I at least certainly do not sleep good consistently. And so this is an important one to address because I know that if we can help address sleep for you, and we can do that quickly, that you're going to start feeling better during the day just that much faster. So I kind of look at sleep, addressing it is kind of a jumpstart to our emotional wellness program. So I hope by now everybody's been listening and saying, okay, am I the true energy person? Am I the at ease or the enjoy? But also let's think about sleep. And if you don't sleep well, let's address it as a jumpstart to our emotional wellness program. We have a formula called At Ease PM that is going to provide some restful sleep. It's certainly going to quiet that racing mind. It's going to calm that anxious body. One of the things that I think is good just to understand is like, why is it that stress impacts sleep? And this slide will help understand one of those reasons. So in the middle, I have 5-HTP. That's the amino acid I've just talked about in At Ease and Enjoy. 5-HTP is the direct precursor to serotonin. And you see on this slide that the arrow goes to serotonin. Well, if you follow serotonin to the bottom left, you'll see that serotonin is the direct precursor to melatonin. So, so if you are anxious or have depressive feelings, you will be low in serotonin because that's part of what goes along with that. If you're low in serotonin, you will not produce the amount of melatonin that you need, which sets your body's clock, which is part of the reason why when you go to bed, all of a sudden you're wide awake and you're laying there and your body is not falling asleep, right? The brain just woke up and it's spinning like crazy, but you're not sleeping. So rather than giving you melatonin, which is a hormone, I would much rather give you 5-HTP, which is a safe amino acid, as the building block to serotonin. So now we have a good and healthy amount of serotonin during the day. We have a happy brain. The brain is functioning well. And at nighttime, when the lights go off and the sun goes down and the blue screens are turned off, we start to produce the serotonin or the melatonin that we each uniquely need in the amount that we need it. So it's a really wonderful, safe way to help your body produce not just serotonin, but the exact amount of melatonin that you need. So let's stop doing the melatonin thing and let's start doing 5-HTP. We have more 5-HTP, of course, in Addie's PM because we want an extra dose of that at night. As well as a few other B vitamins, which are also essential for the production of those different neurotransmitters, a little bit more GABA, magnesium, L-theanine, 5-HTP, and then the real power, really, of Addie's PM is the herb blend that's in here. We call it a sleepy herb blend of California poppy, hops, and lemon balm. These three herbs are going to do a really wonderful job of helping you get in that deep sleep and stay there through the night. You're not going to wake up feeling groggy from Addie's PM. And it's just one capsule, half hour to an hour before bed. And I find Addie's PM works for most people really that first night. So you're going to take your daytime formula, whether it's True Energy, At Ease, or Enjoy, and then add a bottle of Addie's PM. And so a full bottle of Addie's PM is a 30-night supply. And I encourage people when you're starting this emotional wellness program, buy at least one bottle of Addie's PM, maybe two. And I'll tell you, I find that a lot of people don't need more than that. So this is not like, okay, I'm going to be on another product for 6 months or another year. No, your longer term product is the daytime stress formula. Okay. That is so important to help our bodies deal with stress. Addie's PM is the jumpstart to the emotional wellness program. So you're going to do it just for a little while. All right, that's great. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. And I see we've got a few questions here in the chat. So, oh, they're not questions; they're just comments, which is also fine.
I
I will stop.
I loved your explanation of the B vitamins. I never thought about that, it's like a match and it's that one use and then it's over. And then, the excess is
Yep,
secreted out,
yep, yeah.
not used. So thank you so much for that analogy. And also I never thought about the 5-HTP. I knew that it was a precursor to serotonin, but I didn't think about the connection
Right.
past
Yeah.
that. It would
Yep.
make so much sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's fun when you start to put all of the pieces of how the body actually works together, which is why it's so important to like if you have a sleep issue, it's really important to like go past the sleep problem. So yes, we need to know what to do with that, but what's connected to the sleep problem? And so that's one of the things that is really a bit unique about us at Redd Remedies is when we formulate these products we spend a significant amount of time making sure we fully understand all of the different things that are connected. And that's why I started with the rules that the brain and the body are connected, the organs and the systems are connected, because that simple understanding is powerful when you're working to put a formula together to make sure that you're truly addressing the problem in a way that's going to nourish your body and help your body do what it's designed to do. So, if we need to go to sleep, rather than giving you a sedative, I would much rather give you the nutrients you need so your body can go to sleep the way it was designed to go to sleep in the first place, right? So that is our philosophy of how we work, and it's the reason our formulas work so well and so completely.
And also using the adaptogens for the daytime formulas. I'm definitely in anxious and the oh gosh, I just forgot the other one.
The depressive or fatigue,
Oh, the first one you talked about.
fatigue, yeah, yep,
Fatigue. Yes, yes.
yep,
And
yep,
usually it's either or.
yep,
And so I'm definitely gonna be uh taking
yep.
taking up Marlene's on those wonderful sales we have this month. So Celeste says good stats for re-stress for parents of young children
Mm.
for that.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and I find that that individual, that younger parent, many of them are going to be in probably that the at ease category, more of that anxious category. But and that does tend to be the biggest category, probably followed by fatigue, and then third would be the depressive category.
Well, I I also didn't know that there was different types of rhodiola. So that
Mm.
was another new thing I learned too.
There's like 50 types of rhodiola. Not
Really?
all of them have like significant adaptogenic qualities, but the rosea is probably the most popular one. But crenulata has some really wonderful, like slightly variant impacts, and so we put them together in True Energy. I really love those two chemotypes, is what they're called, the rhodiola together.
I love it. Well, I
Yeah,
can't wait to try it myself.
outstanding.
Well, thank you so much, Dan. I really appreciate you and everything you do and the whole team down at Redd Remedies. I absolutely love y'all's curcumin formula. It helps a lot with my inflammation, but obviously I need to take care of my stress and it will help the inflammation.
And that you're exactly right. Yeah, curcumin T4 is great for inflammation and different types of pain. But again, as you picked up, stress amplifies that, right? So when we put the two together, we'll have even better results.
Yay! Health and wellness.
That's right. Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate you, Elizabeth, and we certainly appreciate Marlene's Market and Deli. You all are wonderful.
Aw, so are you. It takes a village. So
That it does.
it does. Well, thanks so much. And thank you everyone for watching this evening. Aw, thanks, Celeste. And definitely check out some wonderful products from Redd Remedies. And they have a wonderful website full of amazing information too. So go check it out. Take care.
All right. Thanks. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.